originated the character and worked with the original artist, Dudley Watkins, in producing him. The face it presented difficulties to begin with. I wanted something that was quite unique, and eventually thought of a caricature of myself which had been done by another artist previously, which featured me with a big chin. So I got Watty to draw pictures of a cowboy with a big chin, and then with a pencil I squared off the chin and told Watty, I want a face with a chin like a chest of drawers. And that's how the typical Desperate Dan chin evolved.
Desperate Dan's horse breaks down. If it fails its MOT, Dan can catch a London cab. There's double-decker buses that run in Texas, but they run through the desert and they arrive at the docks, they arrive at the seaside.
Texas.
Yeah, Texas. And, they go past our telephone boxes, our post boxes. But then also on the route to probably the US Mail Depot, where the stagecoach stops and whatnot. It's marvellous stuff.
The town teacher wears a mortarboard and gown.
Sure.
Some police characters will.
The endearing feature of Dan, always to me, is that Dan never means wrong. He never means to be bad. It happens. He's a big, clumsy man, and his strength gets in the road sometimes. But basically, he's a kid at heart. Certainly one of the ingredients is this owl hoot juice that it's a drink that comes from Cactusville. It's obviously a soft drink of that Dan and the Cactusville residents brew up, and this gives them a lot of strength, the owl hoot juice, and it's certainly an ingredient in cow pie. But Aunt Aggie is the only one that really can make a cow pie. She is the master. That's why Dan loves his auntie so much. She has mastered cow pie.
I once saw a cross-section of a cow pie and it was full of bones and hooves and old tails and the most awful waste.
Should remove the tail. That's an essential part of making a cow pie. That was obviously an amateur.
Wasn't that one of Aunt Aggie's best? I mean, really, she was quite careful.
The tail dangles from the back of the pie and is never included in the actual filling.
They're all good characters in the Beano at that time, Addy and Hermie. And Muscle was another one. Mussolini.
Beano.
They were debunked, really. I mean, I can remember one classic, Musso, where generals complained that troops had run out of leather for shoelaces. So he commanded that all the boots be laced with spaghetti. And of course they did the goose-step march past Mussolini, all the boots flew off and he disappeared under a pile of boots. So that was the kind of humour.
Somebody in high places in D.C. Thompson felt that if the Nazis invaded, it would still be necessary to provide the nation's children with their dandy even while the resistance was being fought. So I was sent off with another colleague to Glasgow, to the printing works that D.C. Thompson used there for the Sunday Post, to run a pilot project to prove that, if necessary, we could go on producing the dandy in the west of Scotland while the east of Scotland was under German occupation.
Come on, girls. Come on, chaps. Dot Hitler on the napper. Save up all your little scraps and be a paper scrapper. Well, that was a time of rationing, of course, and I suppose as a child the sweet rationing hit hardest of all. And then there was paper shortages, which meant, of course, that the Beano and the Dandy were cut to about 12 pages, came out on alternate weeks. One was encouraged to collect waste paper, but we always assumed that the Beano and the Dandy didn't come into that category. They were exempt.
How long were you editor of the Dandy for?
Well, I can't remember now, but I think probably 6 months, something like that. And then I went off to the war to join the Air Force, and I didn't come back after the war. Albert Barnes, as I've said, came back, carried on, and was undoubtedly a great children's paper editor.
And why didn't you go back?
Well, I didn't go back for personal reasons. D.C. Thomson are an idiosyncratic firm. For a very long time, they'd had a very non-union tradition. Went back to the 1926 strike. Extraordinary firm, D.C. Thomson. In the 20s, one of my predecessors as Member of Parliament for Dundee was Winston Churchill. In fact, I'm the only person who served longer in Parliament for Dundee than Winston, who was there for 15 years. And he ended up in a spectacular quarrel with D.C. Thomson himself, the old man. They were both very strong personalities. And it ended up with D.C. Thomson declaring that Churchill's name should be banned from the Thomson publications. And for a whole generation, really, in that interwar period, Winston Churchill's name was on the blacklist. They're that sort of firm, a very strong eccentricities, to put it mildly.